Okay, we're talking about kind of David Bowie, one of like, when he died, and this whole thing recently with Black Star. That was like really a powerful word. But we're talking about like the classic era and what it influences and saying. So one of your first influences in rock and roll was after Motown was David Bowie. Did you have any favorite songs, or what did you like about him? What did you find appealing?
The thing I liked about David Bowie, so I was learning guitar. I did 2 years of guitar training. I did 2 times a week for 2 years. I fucking trained hard with fucking guitar.
So basically, you were getting trained.
Yeah, I was getting trained at the local guitar place.
And then that person was teaching you David Bowie songs.
No, he would be like, "What do you have? Like, what are you interested in?" I'd bring David Bowie and Love and Rockets and stuff. I think the thing that I liked about David Bowie was, what do you not like about David Bowie? Was it the androgynous dog? How did you identify as a young man? It was the music. It was the music that I liked about
and the image
about his shit. It was the emotion. There was so much fucking chutzpah in the fucking music. And on top of that, it was like the freedom of like, I can fucking be whatever I want. Yes. I can be a girl. I can be a boy. I can be a girl now. I can be a boy. What the fuck do you want?
So
fuck
it was
you.
something. It did give you a little bit more confidence to realize your own sexual orientation, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It wasn't so much about gender at the time. It was just more about people just, maybe androgyny was about that we all have everything in us, or some people would exhibit both. It left its mark on me the rest of my life that I came up in that time where just androgyny was really just coming into the discussion and was the mainstream.
Yeah, dude, like, I remember, like, waking up in the morning for high school and I'd watch Love and Rockets, The Haunted Fish Tank. I'd be putting on my fucking makeup. I'd be teasing my hair, and I'd be going to school knowing I'd get into a fist fight. So I'd fight every fucking day.
You wanted the attention then, somewhat.
I didn't.
But you did it anyway when you knew you were going to get it.
That's what my parents said too, but like, I didn't want the attention.
You wanted the makeup.
I wanted to look good. I wanted to look like I
Were you the only boy at your school? Born, whatever that is at this point, but like only a male that was considered a male at your school that wore makeup. Like the only one.
Yeah.
Well, that made you unique again, like kind of like from the early Catholic school thing, and you could see that it was like they left their mark on you, and you eventually identified it, and maybe you are in fact vibrating or had a different consciousness than the people around you. Like what made us want to be different? Like it was like. You want to be significant because at the time I think there was also the individuality was kind of a little bit coming into this kind of mindset of having
the strong desire to be free. Just
so
to be because the feeling of freedom feels good.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh, let me try this. And when anybody is like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, I can't do that? Fuck you, motherfucker.
You had that early on, so I'm kind of placing it like. You really kind of favored out start about 12 years old. If you're born in 74, that would be 84. So this is kind of when
86.
Let's Dance was happening, like the album Let's Dance. But you were able to go back and watch the older stuff, right? Or did you just like the newer stuff?
There was no internet and shit like that. There wouldn't be any internet for a long time.
No, but after you got into Bowie, did you go back and check out the Spiders from Mars and
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No, I definitely did.
I
remember.
I
got a videotape. I had a videotape. I fucking copied a videotape of the last. Everybody knows that fucking classic concert of the last time when David Bowie is like, this is not only the last concert of the tour, this is the last time we're going to be the last Spiders of Mars. And I fucking remember that. And yeah.
I had that on VHS. Back when you didn't have all this stuff on computers for kids out there watching this, you literally had to have some VHS and you'd all sit around with your friend and watch the same VHS concert tape. Maybe 20 times, like the different times, you're just getting stoned. Like, put the Prince one on, like when we'd watch it, even though we'd seen it like 15 times, it just was like, it was something to entertain us. And you literally do these kind of things in a group. And you actually hang out, and then, everybody cut their own little fucking screen down. It was a big activity. So it used to be actually just like sitting and listening to an album with your friends and smoking pot. Did you ever do that kind of thing with your friends? Or you're not a pot smoker?
I was. I didn't know that I wasn't a pot smoker. I was just like...
So you just didn't smoke it, or you did?
I would do anything.
Okay, so everybody want to catch a buzz. You were usually like, yeah, let's get high or let's get drunk. You were down.
It was alcohol. The first thing I did was huffing lighter fluid. I did lighter fluid for the first few months.
You was sniffing it.
I was sniffing lighter
That's your
fluid.
first buzz.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same thing for most kids, you have your experience. I remember smoking pot for the first time and was like trying to define in my mind what high was. I didn't know what that feeling was supposed to be.
It didn't work the first time for me.
I don't think it was very good. It was dirt weed. I don't think I got that high. I was kind of like, yeah, we're listening to an album. And I was like, yeah, I feel kind of good. But then I finally figured it out as I went along.
The first time that pot worked for me, I was at a park in my local town, and I found a puppy, and I saved a puppy and was taking care of him. And I took a hit, and the puppy looked at me and was like, "What's up? How you doing?" The puppy started talking to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is what drugs are like."
They're like when you're like high, especially when you're younger. They'll kind of look at you like, "Hey, dude, I'm right here. I'm here." They're like, dig. And so, one thing we haven't really touched on is like your parents. So like, how did they feel about your behavior at this time? Was it met with a lot of behavioral discipline, or was it kind of like indifference, or like how do you think your parents were reacting to these changes in you?
I was going to jail a bunch. I was going to juvie. I was going to I went to.
You're not saying how they felt, or what they were. How did they react?
How they felt, how they reacted, just hands off. I mean, I got kicked out when I was 17. I got kicked out when
So they basically ignored. They were like, "You're being a fucking asshole," and like, we're letting you go because you're not playing by the rules.
You're a fucking faggot because you listen to David Bowie. And
so your dad thought you were always disgusted by this.
Yeah.
Now, my father had some of the same feeling. Just even having long hair, there's one guy. It was important in my time. Like really, like having long hair was like your freak flag. It was like saying, "I'm not one of you guys. I don't want to be one of you guys, and I'm an outlaw, or I'm just like I'm in a counterculture thing, and I appreciate femininity. Like there's things I'm attracted to that. I'm wearing a stupid hair helmet, cutting some stupid shape. I look at these guys and I'm like, nah, I just didn't want it. I was like completely like, but it's not about me. But a short anecdote was just seeing one of the first long haired dudes and the girls were carrying me on their shoulders. It was that summer bungalow thing in upstate New York. And and the girls were kind of teasing, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And he looked up, and he seemed cool over there. And they were giving him a lot of attention, even though they were making fun. And I was like, I wanted to be that dude. Immediately, I was like, because have these pretty girls, even though I'm on their shoulders, like, I knew I was a kid, and they were like doing something that I wanted to do, like just flirty stuff. So, talk about maybe some of your so your parents what'd your father do for a living? Unless you don't want to talk about it.
He worked in factories and
okay, so no more factory.
He was union and stuff like that. That's kind of where a little bit of my activism comes from. I'm a
you don't have to talk
kid.
about them either if you're not feel comfortable.
I'm a union kid, and
Did your mother work, or she stay-at-home mom?
She worked. She was computer operations since 1970. She was one of the first people doing computers in my hometown.
So she was in the early tech work, Tom.
1970 doing computers.
So I kind of remember one of the neighbors had one of the first computers. I was like, "So what are you doing?" And he's like, he was so into it. He was like, "Oh, we can play chess on it." Literally, that was one of the cool things about it. It was like, okay, here's a word processor. You just using it to stores. Whatever you had to do at work. And
yeah, she got fucked with, and the dudes would come and sabotage the computer and fuck with her.
Your stuff?
No, at her work.
Yeah. Okay.
Men would come and sabotage the computer.
Why?
Because she's a woman.
She was what?
Because she's a woman.
Oh. So she's a world. Is this an example? So people who get to watch this, like a little bit. It's like people don't know the struggles that were going on. Even just like when I was coming up, there was a lot of activism. You know, it was a little bit around the time you were, but maybe before, and it was just like the environment was really important. You know, they had this kind of like the ecology. Good to have that on little folders. That went away pretty quick, but it was interesting that I got coming into a time when some of the hippie values were kind of like just kind of really in the mainstream and going to kids like me who was listening like kindergarten, you know.
Yeah.
Like so like it had trickle down effect.
What year were you born?
It doesn't matter. It's not about me. People.
Okay, right.
Not tonight anyway. So you kind of did that. So you kind of got through junior high school. So tell me about some of like the first trying to go out with girls or like just dating or whatever you did that. Like what memories would you like to share like of that time like that you feel like were significant or like just you start liking girls about 10, 11, 12. You start really kind of being like okay they're not cooties and you're not running away from getting in touch.
I like girls. Very
so were your early friends more men or women?
I like girls way before I could.
You were of age.
Date girls, yeah, and
I'm not saying like. I mean, you can tell me about the first time you fucked, but I mean, like the first time you got laid. But I mean, because I used to do that on my radio show, but it doesn't have to be about that or as graphic or anything. But I'm saying like, what do you remember about just like kind of getting interested in them and how it all evolved? Was it more in a group or like, or how did it all kind of evolve for you as far as getting into interactions with being more intimate with women?
Man, I don't.
It's an in-depth question, but. For me, I was like, I'll say for example, I just like just super short. We can move on, but like I was like,
I just remember that it was very awkward.
Awkward.
And I focused my energy more. Like I really like being with girls and like having girlfriends and shit like that. But it was just awkward, and I felt
to get with girls more than get girlfriends.
I felt more free skateboarding and making zines and making music. Because, like, the freedom was there, and it was kind of like... because, like, I say this a lot, that, like, me and my sister both, like, both of us, like, from our parents, we weren't hugged or told we were loved and shit like that. And we mistook fucking for love. And so we fucked a bunch because we wanted to be loved. Because
your sister did?
Be hugged. Yeah, my sister had a fucking baby at 14.
Okay, but you guys were fucking different people, right?
Yeah, I wasn't with my sister fucking.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying that we both have.
You both were kind of slutty.
Yeah.
I was a slut.
But for the same reason.
I don't feel bad about it. Because like, I didn't get the love in my house and everything.
For the same reason. But like,
yeah.
But like, we mistook fucking for love, and really,
exactly.
What I really appreciated was learning things and like making zines and like reading books and skateboarding and fucking, and so like girls and stuff like that.
So skateboarding kind of came with the girls kind of came along with the skateboarding. They were kind of like just part of this kind of little culture that you were there, and eventually it just all happened for you.
Well, I started skateboarding because I wanted girls. It's just happens like.
So you weren't attracted to relationships like till like maybe you were older. You weren't looking to be like have a girlfriend. It was more like just kind of just all part of this kind of just being a kid and for me.
Yeah, I wanted relationships. I wanted the illusion of love and that
we all do, right?
That I could have some kind of like that there would be someone there for me forever.
Right, and you realized that was all out the window early on.
Yeah, but...
Well, I'm just saying, like, that you're too young.
I still tried to do it forever.
We don't have to talk about this much. I mean, but it's an important part of, like, who we are. Like, a lot of what I did at that time was getting into relationships and, like, shacking up or being in relationships because I wasn't really connected to my family. So, like, you probably are more driven to do that and have a person living your life with you a little bit.
You want to create the illusion of stability because you never fucking had it in your life.
I just like I don't know. I like a steady source of. you know, like at the time, you like boys want to have sex, and like, you really love the sex gets better if you're like kind of like digging on each other as opposed to just porking. And so, and it was just that's the reaction I would have from a lot of them. Maybe someone was missing, and they're like, "We're married," you know, like you go out for like 3 days, and they're like, "We're married now," you know, or something. I'm like, "Okay, you're down in married, I'm down in married. Let's just do this," and you know, you kind of shack up for a little bit. Talk about a little bit like moving out of your parents' house, like, and then going out to being like your own dude. Like kind of when you move out of your parents' house, that's officially like the first, like leaving the nest, so to speak. What was that period like for you?
I got kicked out. I stayed in my hometown for a little bit. I worked in this restaurant downtown. Some kids came through hopping freight trains. Taught me that you can dumpster dive.
So you hung around the nest a little bit, doing like what most kids do, like you kind of have an apartment for 3 months or something. You just trying out different things, but you didn't move away from town immediately.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Okay, so you left your parents' house and stayed around that town for 2 years, and
yeah.
What came next?
I moved to San Francisco.
Oh, so that was your next step. So that's a big step. From you're talking about from.
It was my first time.
Detroit or Ohio?
It was my first time west of the Mississippi. I'd never been west of the Mississippi.
So these are important things, especially for something that's about the Bay Area legend. Because now we're at the point in the kind of story where you're kind of hitting more your mid period. You know, between then and even more like being an older cat a little bit. You know, like so. You decided to move to San Francisco. Why San Francisco?
The 80 went through my town and went to San Francisco.
Okay, and that's the end of the line too. Like you can't go any further west.
Yeah. And one of the guys that I met when I was working in a restaurant that taught me about freight train hopping and dumpster diving. He was from Oakland. And my friend went out and lived there for a little bit.
So you have a friend from your hometown who moved here, and he said he was the kind of the one who put out the line and kind of got you here. So like it does help. Sometimes there's somebody or something that gets you in a certain place. And you came out. Did you come knowing that you were coming here to live, or was it more like to visit and then you ended up staying?
I came to get the fuck out.
You can't remember?
I came to get the fuck out.
Okay, so like wherever you were, it's better than where you were.
Yeah. I ended up hopping freight trains.
Did you fall in love with San Francisco at first, or was it kind of a love-hate thing like that happens a little bit with?
I left a month later.
And more than you went to the East Bay, but this was the city for you.
No, I hopped freight trains. I just traveled America.
So when you came here, you didn't stay here. You went back out on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were a freight train dude. Well, those guys kind of like. And so, like, was it running? Were you running willy-nilly through America, like randomly, or did you have some kind of like set a plan of any sort?
I had a plan, but if the plan didn't work out, like you know.
And what was that plan? Because like go on train plane, you could have some of these older dudes jump you in a second. Like you know, like I sat around fires around, you know, like you know what I'm saying. There's just a little encampment. You kind of if you're a freight train and you meet these guys and you know they're pretty cutthroat. You know, out there, you could just, me and my bud were like, we're out of this fucking game, we're not sleeping here. And they would eat us, you know, like, you'd be over a spit in a second, dude. They're like, we're hungry, look at them, like young, these long limbs. So, you weren't trained, were you good at it? It was like kind of, it was something you knew how to do and you didn't get busted or nothing? Or?
You just learned eventually, and then I got with the sound system. I met a sound system, and I started to travel. Started to make.
Speak up, please. I'm sorry to ask you to do that.
Huh?
Just speak. I just want people to be able to hear you.
Okay, I started to make electronic music and travel with the sound system.
Okay.
And we traveled America and Canada and Mexico. Not really Mexico. Actually, Canada I wasn't allowed into. We traveled America for a couple of years and did festivals and stuff. And that's when I started making music again.
So you jumping trains up for like a couple of years, or was it a couple of months? Or?
I traveled with them until 2000. Then I moved to Berlin.
It was like it was for a decade you were doing that.
No, from 1995 to 2005.
Couple years.
5 years, and then I went to Berlin, and I lived in Berlin for 6 years. That's where I learned about.
You came to San Francisco, but it was really just like this place that stayed with you. Like that's Athens, Georgia, was that a little for me. Like I ended up, girl brought me there. The girl I was in love with at the time, one of the loves of my life. Young life, you know. When you're young enough to fall in love, you know, stupid enough to go with it. It's like it's a really vulnerable place to be. But I had that where I kept returning, you know, like I kind of hit the road and like it was just a place I knew I could go get a room for $80. Like,
yeah.
So I was like, I'm in. You know, like I had some connections. There's a couple of these kind of big, larger houses that used to be fraternity houses, and I was able to just knew somebody and could get a room for $80. So like there was like. I didn't know where else I could do that, and it was kind of an embracing town in some ways, but it basically left you alone. You know, if you were a little freaky kid,
yeah,
you get your room in this bohemian scene. So you go to Berlin, and what was that like?
Totally different.
But you loved it, right?
Completely different. Like
culture and just.
Oh my God! It was like.
So why Berlin though? You just knew that it was cool, or it was for the hip factor, or you really wanted to live there?
I met a guy that lived in Berlin, that lived in a squat, Homes.Jails. So I was doing Homes.Jails. I was like making squats, in San Francisco, and my job was to make squats. And I met a guy from Germany, and he was there, and I went there, and it was. Fucking everything was different. It was noise. The music that it was the first time that I really started to perform.
Right.
I really started to perform.
So you never performed till you got to Berlin? You were doing a live show?
I was DJing, like, you know, when we were touring, I was DJing, like, stuff like that, and I was doing really different DJing than other people, but fucking whatever. It's just, it's just
you
records.
said that's the early 90s or something? Or is that the time frame we're talking about?
95 to 2000.
Right.
But like playing live, I was starting to do noise, and like it fucking changed everything. That like anything is fucking
music.
Anything is music.
Yeah.
You can do anything. Yeah. Fucking anything. For like 20 minutes you can be like
yeah.
And then like 10 minutes like
right.
Fucking oh my God, it was fucking great. And
that's people, a good era, especially for electronic music.
And the people were so intelligent, and like drinking a beer with them or having dinner with them, like the thoughts that oh my God, it was fucking great. It was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and so like Berlin, that's one of the few places on earth when me and Barbara thought about relocating. You know, Berlin is still, I think, for the industrial history, and you know, I know it's not that city anymore. Though, you know what I mean? Like, but it's still Berlin. You know, it's not that place though where Blitz. Here's some chocolate if you want. Or refreshments. I'm gonna eat some right now. But so you were in Berlin until like, not just like this how different, but you loved it. It was like one, like the kind of like that's maybe one of the places that you really like. That period is like what was the culmination of things that kind of
that changed the music that I make, and it gave me a passion for making what would become Volx Kuche.
Would be what?
Volx Kuche. The
that's
dinner.
Not of course the their time there. Kind of.
Sky Church. Yeah, that's where.
So what do you there and how did you survive there? Like, what would did you have an occupation or would you just like perform and get pay out? Or?
So there'd be noise bars, and I would work at the bar, and food is free. So like really, all you need to do is to get your habits. I smoked cigarettes, so I had to get tobacco, and so it wasn't difficult.
So you weren't living somewhere, you were in a school, you were more squatting places?
I was in a squat, yeah.
Yeah, so well, that explains a little bit. So you have a roof over your head, and it's like, there's usually something that you have to trade your time, you know, some way, or you have somebody who's a benefactor, and something will be happening, or you're just able to make enough money from whatever's happening around you, just like you're still doing now. And we all are.
Yeah,
Unless you're like have a dialing, you know, 4 or 5 day a week job.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a crapshoot every month.
You just don't need money. All I needed money for was alcohol and tobacco, and I did that working in the bars. Over there. Huh?
You were kind of winging it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I would sometimes break into the clothing donation, and I would steal clothes out of the clothing donation thing, and then I'd go to the flea market and I'd sell shit at the flea market.
That comes with all kind of the crusty, what they call in America, the crusty punk lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think you still represent with that. It's kind of a little bit part of that culture, even the way you were doing the church and all that stuff. What made you want to come back?
I went to jail. I went to prison.
Over there?
In Germany, I went to prison. And I had 3 years probation, and I just got scared of going back to prison. Prison was fucked up. I've been to jail a bunch, and I've been close to prison in America, but I've never been to prison. And like going to prison made me feel like I never want to go to prison again. And
so it was in another country that made it that much more.
Yeah.
And it gives you that much more anxiety about it. No, you're not even in your own country. It just feels like you just kind of.
And my name is German, so the guy from the prison was like, oh, Herr Lindner, you don't speak German. You want to come to our fucking country and make fucking problems.
Well, why did you get arrested? I'm not entirely sure. I can't understand it yet. Do you want to not talk about it?
No, I can talk about it. Well, what they officially got me for was attempted murder of a policeman. Attempted murder of a policeman, being in a unlawful.
That was the official charge.
Yeah, attempted murder.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, they were trying to get me like 25 years.
You don't think that's yes or no or different, but did you try to kill a policeman?
No, I wanted to hurt a policeman. So this is what happened. The day before May 1st, it's Walpurgisnacht. And it's a tradition that it's the new year. And you jump over the fire burns off your old fucking mistakes and stuff, right. And you go into the new year. So I'm sitting up on the fire, up on the hill, and I'm watching people do this shit, drinking wine. I'd taken mushrooms. I'd stolen a bunch of alcohol from some American kids.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I'm looking down on these kids. There's a bunch of fires. And then all of a sudden, this wave of police, hundreds of police, wave over these kids, and they're like beating them and fucking them up.
Right.
And I'm tripping balls.
Right.
And then over my head, rocks and bottles start flying, and they're fighting the police.
They're rioting.
They're rioting, and I'm like, and I see that, and I'm like, that's what we should do. And we should fucking fight the police.
So you started physically having an altercation with the policemen of that area. Not just you, but a bunch of kids.
Yeah, but they got.
Are you the only one who got arrested?
No.
So
many people got arrested.
So this was kind of a major kind of a incident.
Yeah.
So it was in the papers, and one of the things like a stand out. That's not like a standout thing that would happen. But you were just kind of like violently resisting or kind of getting involved with attacking policemen, and so that's a pretty serious charge. How did you get out of it? By being extradited to America, or?
So there's a group in Berlin that if there's a leftist crime, which fighting the police is a left crime, they'll give you a free lawyer, and I got a fucking great lawyer.
Because you were from another country,
great.
Or?
No, just because fighting the police is a leftist crime.
So what does that mean?
Because
that makes it less of a crime.
Left.
No, but I'm
like
saying,
an anarchist.
But it's not as penalized.
Well, I got a free lawyer because it was a leftist crime. but it
you're not allowed back in Germany or something.
In the court system, well, I got married because of that, and I didn't want to get married. I broke up with my girlfriend
in America
6 hours before I got married.
Oh,
in Denmark, I got.
Wow, I should have burned that bridge. So 6 hours, but
I was sitting with my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. She was like 6 hours, my ex-girlfriend, and they were like, "Do you take this woman to be your yes?" And she was like, "I got married 6 hours after I broke up with my girlfriend for."
I got married with somebody else.
No, I married her.
Okay.
I married her because I
broke up with her, but then you got married to her.
Because I had to get married to stay in Europe.
Okay. So, it's all like, I mean, I'm hearing about, my hearing's a little bit off today, so sorry for you people, I'll be asking more questions. We can take a break in a minute, we could add more to it. We still got many decades to cover. We need some chocolate. But, how long were you in captivity?
6 months.
Well, you didn't actually, did the guy get hurt? Did you actually do some, I'm a pretty big guy, and he's probably, they were at batons or something, right? They were hitting back, right? They were beating up kids.
I did get hurt.
Okay.
I'm like I told you earlier, I'm a judo champion.
Right.
I fucking.
So you're saying like you were doing some damage?
No, judo is about directing. Judo isn't about attacking. Judo is about directing.
Let me ask you a question, and we'll move on. But do you feel like whatever you did deserved to be arrested? Do you like where you cut? No. Because you were basically reacting to them beating on the kids.
Yep.
Okay, well, it doesn't make he's a superhero. Superheroes gotta fight. You go in there and start punching people, and that seems heroic and that kind of thing. So you want to take 5?
Yeah, I gotta pee.
Well, we can talk through that, but we'll be back with part 3 or whatever number it is in a little bit. Thank you for watching Bay Area Legends.